ever wondered how a single construction project could cost over 1 million lives and still be considered one of humanity's greatest achievements? Well, buckle up, because the story of the Great Wall of China isn't the heroic tale of protection you learned in school. It's actually the story of how an empire built the world's most expensive prison, not to keep enemies out, but to keep their own people in. Welcome to a journey along 13,000 miles of ancient concrete and blood, where we'll uncover how this wonder of the world became the ultimate symbol of authoritarian control, and why its true purpose has been hidden from us for centuries. Picture this. It's 220 BCE, and you're a Chinese peasant living under the iron fist of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. One morning, soldiers arrive at your village with a simple message. You've been conscripted to build the Great Wall. You have no choice. Refuse, and you die. Accept, and you'll probably die anyway. This wasn't some noble construction project where workers sang songs and built something beautiful together. This was forced labor on an industrial scale. Over 400,000 workers died during the Qin dynasty's construction alone. And that's just the beginning of our story. But here's what they don't teach you in history class. The Great Wall wasn't primarily built to keep the Mongols out. That's the sanitized version they want you to believe. The real purpose was far more sinister. The Great Wall was actually the world's first comprehensive border control system, designed not just to keep invaders out, but to keep Chinese citizens in. Think of it as an ancient version of the Berlin Wall, stretching across an entire continent. Emperor Qin Shi Huang understood something that modern authoritarian regimes still use today. If you want to control a population, you need to control their movement. The wall wasn't just a military fortification. It was a massive surveillance and control network with watchtowers every few miles, beacon systems for instant communication, and checkpoints that monitored every person trying to cross. But the most disturbing part? The wall was built using a construction technique that literally turned human beings into building materials. Here's where the story gets truly horrifying. Ancient Chinese construction workers discovered that adding organic materials to their mortar made it incredibly strong. We're talking about sticky rice, animal blood, and yes, human remains. When workers died during construction, which happened constantly due to the brutal conditions, their bodies weren't given proper burials. Instead, they were often incorporated directly into the wall itself. Archaeologists have found human remains embedded in sections of the wall, turning this wonder of the world into the world's longest graveyard. The Chinese have a saying, "For every stone in the Great Wall, a man died." But even that understates the true horror. Modern estimates suggest that over 1 million people died building various sections of the wall across different dynasties. That's more than the entire population of most countries at the time. But the wall's true genius wasn't in its construction. It was in its function as a surveillance system. Every watchtower was positioned for maximum visibility, creating an unbroken chain of observation posts across northern China. Guards could communicate instantly, using smoke signals during the day and fire signals at night, creating a real-time intelligence network that would make modern governments jealous. This wasn't just about watching for Mongol raiders. The system was designed to monitor Chinese citizens, track their movements, and prevent them from escaping the empire. It was the world's first panopticon, a prison where everyone could be watched at all times. It actually worked. For over 2,000 years, the Great Wall helped Chinese emperors maintain absolute control over their populations, creating a template for authoritarian surveillance that's still being used today. Now, you might be thinking, this is all ancient history. What does it matter today? Well, here's where things get really interesting. The same country that built the Great Wall is now building something even more sophisticated, a digital wall. Modern China has taken the surveillance principles of the Great Wall and applied them to the digital age. Social credit scores, facial recognition cameras, and internet censorship create an invisible wall that's far more effective than any physical barrier. The Great Wall was just the prototype, but the most chilling part is how the myth of the Great Wall has been weaponized. By promoting it as a symbol of Chinese ingenuity and protection, the government has turned a monument to oppression into a source of national pride. It's the ultimate example of how history gets rewritten by the victors. The Great Wall cost more than just human lives. It bankrupted entire dynasties. The Qin dynasty, which started the massive construction project, collapsed partly due to the enormous resources required to build and maintain the wall. The Ming dynasty, which built most of the wall we see today, also fell partly due to the crushing financial burden. But here's the irony. The wall never actually worked as intended. The Mongols conquered China anyway, not by breaking through the wall, but by bribing the guards to open the gates. The Manchus, who established the Qing dynasty, also bypassed the wall through corruption rather than force. So, China spent over 2,000 years and millions of lives building a defense system that ultimately failed at its stated purpose. But it succeeded brilliantly at its real purpose, controlling the Chinese people. Today, millions of tourists visit the Great Wall every year, taking selfies and marveling at this wonder of the world. But they're essentially visiting a massive crime scene, a monument to human suffering that's been rebranded as a tourist attraction. The Chinese government has spent billions restoring sections of the wall, not for historical preservation, but for propaganda purposes. They've turned a symbol of oppression into a symbol of national strength, and the world has bought into the myth completely. Even the famous claim that you can see the Great Wall from space is a lie. Astronauts have repeatedly debunked this myth, but it persists because it serves the narrative that the wall is somehow superhuman in its scale and importance. So, what's the real lesson of the Great Wall? It's not about human achievement or protection from enemies. It's about how authoritarian regimes use massive public works projects to control their populations, and how they rewrite history to make oppression look like progress. The Great Wall of China isn't a wonder of the world. It's a warning. It shows us what happens when governments have unlimited power over their people, and how easily we can be convinced to celebrate our own imprisonment. And perhaps most importantly, remember that the same mentality that built the Great Wall is still alive and well today, just using different tools. The wall may be made of stone and mortar, but the principles behind it are being applied in ways that would make Emperor Qin Shi Huang proud. The Great Wall of China, where 1 million people died so that emperors could sleep soundly, knowing their subjects could never escape. That's the real history they don't want you to know.